So we now have episode 8 of WandaVision. This is the second last episode of the series, I'm assuming, overall. This episode is called Previously On, and if you haven't seen this episode yet and you don't want to get anything spoiled for you, do not watch this review, because this review is going to contain full spoilers for the episode. You've been warned. So the thing about this episode is the fact that it doesn't really do much to progress the plot, really. If anything, a few things do to kind of help progress the story, but for the most part, it just kind of sits there and answers a lot of questions. Some of the questions they've answered actually are questions we've had ever since Wanda was first introduced. So we kind of get a lot of we actually get pretty much the entirety of Wanda's backstory that I never really questioned, because they kind of gave us an answer in Age of Ultron. I kind of just left it at that. Never really cared to question it. We also get Agatha's backstory, which I actually thought was quite interesting. The fact that she's actually from the 1600s. She is a witch who was actually being killed by other witches because she was using dark witch powers, which aren't witch powers dark. Anyways, but I kind of thought to see them all killing it actually revealed that her mother was one of them killing her. But then she turns it back on them because she was using, for lack of a better word, dark witch powers. She pushes all the energy and the bad witch powers back at everyone else. So she was using purple, which we know now moving forward that if we see purple magic, it's probably a bad guy, and then blue magic was all of her friends and family, if you want to call them that she does kill in quite a brutal way. It seemed to me that when she killed them, because we see them all pretty much turn to skeletons, I wonder if she was either those women were older than Agnes, and then when she just killed them, they went back to their age they would be at. So maybe they were 1,000 years old. They went back to what a 1,000-year-old body would look like. Or if she took the remaining lives they had and given it to her, and that's the reason why she's been alive for so long. It could be either or. I wonder if we'll ever get answered. I can't imagine we'll get it answered. But I actually thought it was quite cool to see Agnes's backstory, because I hadn't imagined that she lived for so long. I just kind of assumed she was whatever Kathryn Hahn is, 40 years old, whatever she is. I just kind of assumed that's how old Agnes was. I didn't really give it much of a thought. So to see what we got, I actually thought was quite cool. And we find out the reason that Agnes is actually, or Agatha is doing all this with Wanda is solely because she is jealous, and she wants to know how Wanda has been able to do all this stuff, because she's been training for years and she's not able to accomplish nearly as much as Wanda's able to do. What Wanda's able to do is amazing, and she wants to know how she's able to do it. So we kind of go back in this episode. It's kind of like a time travel episode where Agnes opens all these doors into Wanda's past, and we kind of get to see a bit of backstory stuff that I didn't think we'd ever actually get to see. Even in this series, when I knew we were getting a WandaVision, I thought we'd get something on Wanda, but I didn't think we'd get it the way we got it. Like the first kind of jump back in time we see is to the moment where her parents were killed, and the dad comes home, and okay, we know, I was assuming everyone was kind of speculating that maybe the people in the ads that we see throughout the series are actually Wanda's parents. We know now that they are not, because they're completely different actors. I wonder if those actors who play the people within the ads throughout this episode, I wonder if they are important or if they're just some random people. But that we do see the dad, he comes home, he's trying to sell DVDs. That's where the whole comedy aspect sitcom shows come from, is the fact that the dad was trying to sell them, and every time Wanda gets sad or depressed, she likes to watch sitcoms. But the dad comes home, we see all the DVDs, they sit down to watch the Dick Van Dyke Show, and then they're sitting down watching it, and all of a sudden a massive explosion happens. Now I was assuming, I knew how they died, but when the explosion hit, I was shocked. I did not expect it at all. I didn't expect that scene, even though it makes sense, and I don't know why I wasn't expecting it, but I was just shocked when the explosion hit, because I was really not expecting it. And then we see the Wanda and Pietro underneath the table looking at the bomb, and it was quite cool to see the Stark Industries, and we find out that it didn't go off because it was a dud. It didn't go off because Wanda stopped it, revealing to us that Wanda has always had powers. So it's kind of like a little bit of a retcon. They're thinking, okay, we have the mutants, we are able to make mutants now. Let's not have them be miracles. Let's try and change them to be mutants. So now Wanda has always had witch powers. They didn't say mutants as a whole, but I think everyone knows Wanda is now a mutant. And the powers she got from the Mind Stone wasn't actually powers from the Mind Stone. What she got from the Mind Stone just made her so much stronger than she could ever have been before. So that's why I'm really excited now to see what the hell is going to happen with Scarlet Witch. Because as you see, when she's getting tested on, she looks the Mind Stone, the stone comes flying out of the spear, or the scepter, it cracks open, you see the Mind Stone, and then all of a sudden you see a figure of the Scarlet Witch, Wanda in the full Scarlet Witch outfit like she was in the Halloween episode, flying down towards her. I don't know if that was kind of an imagery kind of like the Dark Phoenix, the way we see the Phoenix coming down to Jean Grey and then she embodies the Phoenix. I wonder if that's the same thing where Wanda's actually got multi personalities inside her rather than just being the one. I think that seems like a quite unique. I really, really hope we do actually see Wanda embrace and fully wear that outfit. I would love to see that. I think that outfit is fantastic. I actually said that in my review of episode 6. If they could just kind of make it a bit more serious rather than someone who just made it in their basement, I would rather see them move forward with that costume rather than the one we've seen, which is Wanda in like a red jacket. I think that costume works so much better, and I'd love to see them continue on with that. But then after that, we do see the Wanda and Vision sitting in Wanda's bedroom in between Civil War and Age of Ultron, and we see them heart to heart. We see the first bit of their relationship forming. They're watching comedy series together and they're actually talking about grief. Wanda saying how she feels now that Pietro's gone. Vision saying he can't really relate because he's never loved someone to grieve them. And I thought the whole relationship, first stepping stones to them becoming Wanda and Vision, the relationship, I thought was quite cool. One of the things I actually thought of though is the fact that since we don't see Aaron Taylor Johnson in this episode, not even in a backstory or anything, did he not want to return? Like, is he not going to show up? I thought it was a bit weird that he didn't show up at all. Maybe I thought when they were getting tested on the people, I thought maybe they would have been in the room together because they're brother or sister, and the fact that they're volunteers, I thought they might have fought to be in the room together. So I was quite surprised we didn't see Aaron Taylor Johnson at all in this episode. And if he doesn't show up in episode 9, I think maybe he just didn't want to come back. But we do get to see how everything played out, how this whole thing happened after Wanda, because Vision died. She didn't have someone to grieve. Even Agnes says, you used him and he helped you become better after you lost your brother. And then we see how Wanda got the body of Vision. She goes in and we see that what's his name, Hayward, didn't actually, like, Wanda didn't break in, steal the body. Hayward took that footage and she turned it. Wanda was at reception. She was like almost in tears saying, I just want to see his body. I just want to see his body. They let her in, but she doesn't open the door. She kind of smacks the door open because she can do that. And then she goes to Hayward. Hayward shows her Vision's body, and of course, showing Wanda Vision's body the way it was, that's obviously going to trigger something. That's a horrible thing, because as she says to him, he's not just a robot to her. That is like the love of her life. And to see him split open on separate tables all over the place, arm over here, leg over there, his head splat in the middle, and then like putting saws and everything up to him, of course that'd be heartbreaking for her to see. She goes down and she goes, I can't feel anything, which you kind of call back to Infinity War when Vision says, what can you feel? And she goes, I can just feel you. She goes, I can't even feel you, which was quite a heartbreaking scene to begin with. This entire episode as a whole was just absolutely heartbreaking to see the pain Wanda's in. Everything Wanda, it was just such a devastating character to see what she has gone through. But she does leave. She doesn't actually leave with Vision's body. I was kind of expecting her to leave because that's what we were led to believe because of Hayward. But we know now that Hayward has had the body the whole time. Wanda didn't. She goes into her car. She got a little form beside her. Had no idea what that form was. I didn't know. I thought maybe it was Vision's will and the fact that he didn't want to be used as a weapon. So she was going in there to get the body back. But no, it's a deed to the house where Wanda has been set up this whole WandaVision set. Like, that house there, that is an empty plot of land. Vision bought that plot of land so they can grow old together there. But we do see Wanda drive into Westview, and we get to see everyone. Well, for the most part, we get to see everyone. We see the postman. We see the woman from That 70s Show. I can't remember the character's name from episode 1. We see, what's her name, Dottie? No, we don't see Dottie, but we see Dottie's husband. And we see them all. They all look depressed. This town, a lot of it looks shut down. It looks like a run-down town. Even the sign going into Westview looks like it was falling apart. It looks like this town was just a horrible place before Wanda showed up. But we see her. She pulls up to the house. She goes in. She opens it and says, for us to grow old, V. And then Wanda is just heartbroken. She is devastated. She falls to her knees, and then her powers just explode around her, building the house up from where she was, and then all of a sudden it explodes, and then you see the hex take place. You see everything go back to the 50s. Everything goes to black and white. So we know that Wanda was actually the one who did create all this, and Vision was actually created from Wanda. There was no parts there. I was assuming that she was kind of puppeting Vision's dead body, but no, Vision is literally a part of Wanda, same way I'm assuming Billy and Tommy are. But we do see Vision and Wanda, that's how they get reunited. When they sit on that couch together, it was fantastic. I kind of wish they just left Wanda alone to have the life she wanted to have in there. But we also when you get out of that, we do find out that Agnes does have Billy and Tommy, because we knew they were somewhere, we didn't know where they were, but she has them tied up around the neck, she's pulling at them, she's in her full witch's costume, which, by the way, looks pretty awesome. And then she starts screaming at Wanda, she says, I need you to show me, because you are the Scarlet Witch, which was just something I knew we'd have to hear it at some stage, but the way we found it out was amazing. Like, the name Scarlet Witch isn't because of Wanda, it's because of what Wanda is, and that name has been passed on, apparently with the strong witches. I think that was just such a really cool way of having her be named the Scarlet Witch. Hopefully they continue that name on moving forward. We know that Wanda isn't the bad guy, she is still the good guy, and hopefully in episode 9 she can redeem herself and still be a good character, but I can't see that happening. I think when she's in Doctor Strange 2, I don't know if she'd be the villain, but I feel like she's going to do something in episode 9 that's going to destroy something, maybe opening the multiverse, and she's going to be helping Doctor Strange try to repair everything in the multiverse of madness. But we also do get the information that Pietro isn't actually Pietro, before I continue on with the end bit, but Pietro isn't actually Pietro, it's just some random guy. Agnes took over and just used that guy as her eyes and ears, because of course she couldn't use the real Pietro, because as she said, he's on a different continent, as well as he's covered in holes, so she couldn't really use him. We didn't actually get to see a Vision in our current timeline in this episode, like we had seen him in the past, before like Civil War. We even get to see him at the very start of the series, but we didn't actually get to see Vision where he's at now, where all the information we have now, we actually don't get to see him. We don't get to see Jimmy Woo or Monica Rambeau or even Kat Dennings' character Darcy. We don't get to see any of them. But our post-credit scene is something I have questions about. I recognize it straight away, but I don't, like, I've read Marvel comics, but I haven't read like everything, so there's something like, I knew when he showed up it was important, but I don't know what exactly he is. But we do get to see that Hayward has always had the body. He's taken apart Vision's body and put it back together in so many different places, using so many different elements, trying to bring Vision's back. But he uses the drone that Wanda threw back at them, because that was covered in her magic. They used that to bring Vision back, and now Vision's back. He's a fully white Vision. You can tell by him he's way more robotic than Vision was. Vision was more a robot, but also had a lot of humanity inside him, where we can tell this Vision is just, he's a robot. So I imagine we're going to get a pretty cool action scene between Vision and Vision. I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Hayward is pretty obviously now the villain. I can't see him coming back from this, because he's like, you can say all he wants that Wanda could be a terrorist, but we know now that he did alter a lot of stuff, so I imagine he's gonna have to be, he won't be killed, but I imagine he's gonna lose his job, and then Monica will probably take over as the head of S.H.I.E.L.D. Looking forward to seeing how all this plays out. We still didn't get the cameo of whoever Paul Bettany was talking about, the fact that there's a mystery actor he's always wanted to work with, and we didn't actually get that. I was kind of thinking we might get that, because I heard in an interview this week Paul Bettany was saying him and the actor had such good chemistry and they had a few scenes together, so I'm imagining we're going to have to get this in episode 9. Episode 9 is going to have to be like an hour and a half long, because there's just so much more they have to do. I cannot wait to see what happens with episode 9. I can't wait to see how this show wraps up. I can't wait to see how it ties into Doctor Strange, and I cannot believe it's over. I want it to be over because I want to see how it ends, but I don't want it to be over because I'm loving this show so much. But luckily, Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes out. Hopefully that is able to live up to WandaVision and be one of those shows that every single Friday I am dying to watch, because that is what WandaVision has been for me. But let me know your thoughts on WandaVision episode 8 in the comment section down below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What do you think is going to happen in episode 9? Let me know all that in the comment section down below. If you want to see my review of episode 9, click that subscribe button so you can come back next week and see my review of episode 9. But with all that said, thanks for watching.